Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. God bless you all. Start there. I want to give this testimony for the glory of God. For those that don't know me, my name is Sister Grace, and this is the testimony that I've had for so long. And I just pray that it will bless somebody. I want you guys to know no matter what we need in life, there's an answer for it. All you have to do is press play. I am a firm and strong believer of the tape of the message of Brother Branham. And this testimony, I've been keeping it in for so long. And bear with me, I'm a little nervous, but I just want to give this to God. Like I prayed and I just asked God to give me strength. I've never done any recording of this before. So just take your time and listen. There'll be people that will judge. There'll be people that will laugh, which is fine by me because I won't be the first or the last to be laughed at. And I believe when you are walking with God, or when you're taking God at His word, people have to laugh at you. People have to mock with you. So it's perfectly fine with me. Let's go back. I was trying to be skipped. Sorry, bear with me. 2012, I find out I had a fibroid. 2012, I find out I had a fibroid. 2013, I got married. 4 months after my wedding, I got pregnant with Joseph. 2016, I went to the doctor to get the fibroid removed. 2017, graduated from school. We were trying to get pregnant, but at the same time, because of school, we wasn't really serious about it. So we were okay. I still wanted kids, but it wasn't like a mandatory per se because I wanted to concentrate on my study, right? So 2018, that's when I got really serious into it. I was like, babe, I need more kids. So I went to my doctors and we did a different kind of examination to figure out what's going on. And pretty much April the 10th, 2018, April the 10th, 2018, the specialist that I was sent to looked at me straight dead in my face and told me, I'm sorry, Miss Mucha, but you can never get pregnant on your own because both of your fallopian tubes are blocked. So there's no way you can get pregnant. And I was numb, spiritually, physically, emotionally. I was just numb. I don't even know how to describe numbness, but I was just numb. I was just like, what did he say? So moving forward, I left the office and I went to my mother's house because the doctor's office wasn't too far from there. I went to my mother's house, and while I was there, I wanted to call my husband. I called him and I told him what's going on. He wanted to come home from work, but it just didn't feel right. I said, no, stay at work. I went inside. I went and I locked myself in the bathroom because I figured at least I'll have privacy there so I can really like think in what the doctor just said. And something just told me not to stay there because I was in the bathroom, then I felt like, no, let me go in the room. If I lock myself in the room, I definitely won't be disturbed. But I knew if I go in the room, all I'm going to do is cry because of what the doctor said. So I just felt a voice told me, get up, go out. I took my son, Joseph, my niece and my nephew. We went out to do shopping and ice cream to distract myself. My husband wanted us to discuss about what the doctor said because he wanted to help his wife out, right? But I didn't want that. So I felt like I needed to go on conference one-on-one with God. And that's what exactly I did. I just said a little prayer and then I left. Now, I came back. That day I left, actually went on my pastor's house. I went there and I was doing something with his wife. And later on that day, I came back home very late and I did that on purpose only because I didn't want to have that conversation with my husband. I wasn't ready because I didn't know what to tell him, you know. And truth be told, there was a part of me that kind of felt like he doesn't deserve this, right? That's now the devil working. So I went to bed, and the next morning, every Saturday morning, my husband especially, he wakes up for quiet time extra early, what not to do quiet time. But for whatever reason, this morning, I woke up before him, and I decided to play the quote of the day. In the quote of the day, of April 11th or April the 10th of 2018 Brother Brennan was talking about how you go to the doctor and the doctor work with science. The doctor can only do but so much based on what they know through science. When the doctor has reached their limit, God has to come through, and take over pretty much. And I felt like that was for me. I felt like I needed to hear that because yesterday I was with science and science told me no more baby for me. So what do I do? So I just prayed and I didn't even tell my husband nothing. Like that day we literally prayed separately, right? And we went about business. We had traveled a little bit. And when we got where we were going, I told him about it. And he was shocked. He was like, how can you keep this from me? Why didn't you tell me what you heard? Why didn't you share with me? And he just encouraged me. He was like, I want you to hold on to that. No matter what the doctor said, just hold on to that. And that I did. The month went by. The years went by. And I found myself crying a lot. Sometimes I have to be honest, I felt angry because I didn't understand why was this happening to me. If you know me, I love kids, and I just didn't understand. I was like, no, there's no way I can only have one. There's no way. Like, God, you know my heart. Brother Brennan preached a sermon, deep call it to the deep. They have to be deep to respond. And I feel like there's a deep desire in me for more kids. So they have to be a result somewhere out there. There's no way I can just have Joseph. Like, that's not what I want. That's never been my heart desire. Remember when my husband and I were courting, I told him I wanted 10 kids and he looked at me and was like, let's go halfway. So we agreed on 4 or 5. So I was like, there's no way. I'm not settling for one. That's not my portion. So moving on, I just kept praying. I remember I talked to my pastor. I tell him, this is what's going on. What do I do? What do I do? And he just told me exactly what Brother Branham says. Like, you know what? You've done everything you know how to do. We're going to take God at his word. We're going to believe in. He looked at me. He's like, Sister Grace, I believe you're going to have that baby, And I say amen. I had my days where I was up there. I had my day where I was down. It was, up and down kind of a journey for me. And there would be days where I'm just like, Lord, what about me? Go to the altar. The pastor would say something. It would touch my heart. I'll cry out to God because sincerely in my heart, that's all I ever wanted, I didn't care about getting educated. Let's just be real with you. I have my bachelor's degree, but I didn't care about it, To me, it didn't matter. I just wanted to be a mother. I know myself. That's all I've ever wanted. Since I was 15 years old, I just want to be a mother. I love kids. I have that in me, and I just love it. I don't know what else I want to do if not mother. So it was one of those things where I held on to what God told me, but at the same time, doubts came, You'd be a time where my body started going to like 3 months, 2 months without my monthly visitation. And when that happened, I'll get so excited. I'm like, yes, it's happening. And then I'll take the pregnancy test. It's negative. Man, I start crying again. Like, I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars in pregnancy tests. Like, it would just crush me. I would cry. I'd go to my husband. I'm like, I don't understand. I've gone 3 months without my visitation. And then when I take the pregnancy test, it's negative. I'll go days where I'm just throwing up. Any smell is like, oh, I got to run to the bathroom. I'm like, this is it. I know this feeling. And lo and behold, I'll take the test. It's negative. I went through a period of time, literally, where I would feel movements in my stomach, like as if something is kicking, because I had Joseph. So I'm like, okay, this is it. Like, I'll literally lay back and I'll talk to my stomach and everything. It will kick and everything. And I go get a sonogram because I tell my doctor, so I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen my cycle. My stomach is having a lot of movements. We go to ultrasound. There's nothing inside. And it was just like, Lord, I don't understand what is happening. Please help me, because I now find myself crying a lot. Now, remember, we went to do the ultrasound. The doctor said, nope, there's nothing here. I don't know why you're back here. You already know you cannot be pregnant on your own. So I had where I felt like doctors were rude, but it was okay, because I know that they have to do their job. And I know sometimes when you want something from God, the devil will test you by left any means possible. So I went home. I cried to God. I prayed, I cried, I screamed, and I recall I'll be going back and forth. One time, Brother Brennan was preaching, my pastor was preaching, talking about like the faith of Abraham. Brother Brennan said how Abraham, once God gave Abraham the promise, Abraham just didn't sit there and wait for the promise. Abraham put God at his word and started working, started like, let's say, building the crib, or telling Sarah, let's put these diapers together, and people laughing at Abraham, like, what are you doing? You're old, why are you buying cribs? Or what are you buying baby clothes? Or what are you doing, Abraham? And I felt like I was Abraham. I remember one day I just went to Burlington. They had this beautiful crib. I said, you know what, I want it. Financially speaking, we didn't have the money, but we had a credit card. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to get it, and my husband will be okay. And I called him. He encouraged me, said, go for it. If you strongly feel like God is leading you, go for it. We went ahead and I got the crib. Little by little, I found myself buying a car seat and strollers. I found myself buying bed, clothes, everything. I putting this thing together. And now I just put it in one area. And then I just felt in me, like you say you have faith, you buying the things, but you're not putting it together. And you're keeping the receipt. It's as if, if this doesn't work, you're going to return it back. And I said, no, that's not faith. Faith is boldly taking God at his word. No matter what it is, you're moving forward. And that's exactly what I did. I opened the boxes. I started setting up the room, painting the wall, order her name and everything. The more I did that, the longer it took, right? And to be honest with you, the more I almost started going into depression in a way. I just didn't understand. And I would tell friends about it. I would tell people about it. And I started getting laughed at. And that was the hardest ever, because these people knew me, but they started laughing at me. And I remember one time my pastor said, when God makes a promise, like if people laughing, they're not laughing at you because you didn't make the promise. God made the promise. And so God has to back his word. I believe the word said that the word of God will never return unto him void. No matter what, no matter how long it takes, it will go about but it will still have to come to pass. So I was like, God, they're not laughing at me. They're laughing at you. And I felt like, God, these people are challenging you because you promised and it's not happening, and they're laughing. So I just went about, I was shop for kids. Every chance I got to go to any baby store, I always came out there with a bag. I always shop, from diapers, wipes, bottles, plates, you name it, I had it. So 2000, October 1st, 2019, we had moved. So I believe it was, 2018, I believe it was. We moved and I was unpacking. While I was unpacking, I wanted to do something, to create the right atmosphere in the house. Joseph was at school, hubby was at work. So I just felt led, a strong desire. Something just said, why don't you just play sermon? Usually I play music or something while I'm doing work around the house. But for whatever particular reason, something just felt like, why don't you play sermon? So if you listen to sermon, usually when Brother Branham come preaching, he'll start talking about like greeting different people, talk about which trip he's coming from and things like that. But in this sermon, actually I framed the scripture, not the scripture, I framed the sermon here, a little bit of it. It was from the sermon, Show Us the Father and His Surface. It was preached in August 19 of 1950. Immediately, before I even played the sermon, I have to be honest, I challenge and I question God. I say, God, I always hear people talk about, they played the sermon, you spoke to them. What about me? I'm in this house. The house is big. It's just 3 of us. We really want more kids. What about me? And immediately when I press play, God will hold me accountable if I'm telling anything different. And Brother Branham, literally in paragraph 8, Brother Branham say, there's a little lady sitting right there with a white looking dress on. Young girl, you're trying your best for me to say something, aren't you, sister? Do you believe with all your heart? And when I walked on the platform a while ago, you started praying or something or another, didn't you? Because I turned around, I noticed you were praying or something. You were wanting me to tell you that what wrong and what, isn't that right? Let me go on telling you a little story. You're just a young woman. We know that by looking at you. But one time there was a woman in the Bible, something of your nature, and she promised the Lord what she would do if the Lord would just bless her. Is that right? She got up to the temple to pray about it one day. Is that right? This woman and the priest misunderstood her, and she prayed with such sincerity for God to take away her reproach until she was misunderstood. Is that right? And the priest of the temple came out and said, the Lord grant to you your desire. And in 9 months from then, she had her desire. Wasn't that right? A little baby. God bless you, sister. And may God give you the child that you're desiring right there. Don't worry, mother. I believe that you'll embrace a child soon. Now, just have faith and believe with all your heart. When I saw this, I jumped. I jumped because I just asked God for something less than a minute ago, and he spoke to me through the prophet. I immediately texted my pastor, I texted my husband, I texted my brother, I texted Joshua Columba, I texted all my 3 J's. I was like, guys, look what just happened. And of course, to encourage me, to believe with me. And I remember my pastor telling me, now just believe and hold on to it. And that's all you need to do. And I did. I believed God. And I told my husband we're excited, and I just kept praying. Now, the devil know how to work. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 9 months, still no pregnancy. And that crushed me. I went back every time I was down. I'll run back to this school. I'm like, but God, you said it. But, I'll just keep going, referencing back to this. And the more I went to it, I got strength. And so I just waited on God. I remember we went to 2019, we went to a wedding. And I saw somebody I haven't seen in a while. I was a little big, gained weight, whatnot. And somebody told me, are you pregnant? Are you pregnant? So I should have said yes because I was putting God in his word, but I didn't. And they was like, what are you waiting for? And they started doing critic, which I don't need to go in detail in that one. Because this is a positive video. I don't want no negativity. So it crushed me down. And I found myself crying again. I'm like, Lord, how long? How long? And I would study the book of Esther so much. I would study the book of Hannah so much. And I'm just like, Lord, what about me? What about me? And I just kept reminding God, what about me? And I remember Joe Colombo was preaching. And one time I was also talking to him. He was like, Grace, look, Elizabeth was up there in age. Sarah was up there in age. You're not even up there in age yet. You already had Joseph. So why is it difficult for God to do it again? You just have to believe. There are people who had a worse condition than you. You have proved that God is able because you're seeing God work before. So just hold on to God. And we did. I held on to God. And I had my days. So last year we moved from our old house to this place that we're in now. And it was hard because I had to break that nursery down. And that was really difficult for me because of everything that took place in 2020. And for the fact that I had to break this nursery. This was supposed to be the nursery that I'm bringing her home to. Now I have to break it down. And a part of me was like, the devil was laughing at me like, whoa, I thought your God was going to come through. I thought your God was going to do it. Now look at you. You have no nursery for the child. Now you have to break it down. I had to break everything little by little, from the crib to reorganizing, putting all her clothes, her shoes, her everything back in a box. And I just cried. I was like, Lord, did you promise me? Or maybe I misunderstood you or what? I have to be honest. I really just went on to questioning mindset because I did not understand what was happening. And the thing that got harder in this journey is my child. He see all of his siblings, all of his cousins with little sister, little brother, and he loved him, Eliana and Zoe. He called them his own little sister. So, and I know there's time where him and his cousin Moses be like, no, this is not your sister, this is my sister. And that always get on him. So when we come back home, he complain, Mommy, why is Moses saying that Zoe is my sister too? And it's kind of hard to explain to him, Moses is right, at the same time Moses is not right. So I just encourage him. I said, why don't you pray? Go ask God for your sister. Go in your room and go pray. And one time he said, but Mommy, I've been praying for her for so long. You promised me that she was going to come, and I still haven't seen her. You telling me a lie, Mom. You're not telling me the truth. She's not here. If you're pregnant, why isn't your stomach getting big? Your stomach is the same way. Like, you're not pregnant, Mommy. You're just telling me stories. And I had to sit there, try imagining sitting there explaining to a 6 years old what is faith. You know, he had so much questions, and I just told him, all I know is God promised. We have to believe it, and that's all we have to do. So we did that. We believed. He had questions. We believed. We kept on believing, and he had more questions. I know this is a long video. I'm going to try to do it like in 2 parts so that you don't get bored of it.